Hey weirdos, it's Brian again. Just got home from hitting the pavement. Thought I'd get some painting in, leave some of this stress. Thought I'd go live, see if anybody's hanging. We'll hang out and talk some shit. Tonight we're doing our Weird War Wednesday too, and it's gonna be a free for all too. So you guys are more than welcome to come in too. Nerd, hey buddy, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Thought I'd jump in here and do some painting. Figured I'd see what everybody else is up to. If anybody's around, not working or whatever. Ooh, BattleTech, right on. You know, back in the day, I think when who originally did it? Was it Alamo Designs or I can't remember who originally did BattleTech. Yeah, I used to play it like back in the 80s. And I wasn't a big fan of the mechs or what they call them. They call them I can't remember what they call them, mechs or lances or whatever they are. I played like the infantry and like the tanks and the aircraft and shit. That's what I like to do. I mean, they always got wasted, but you know, the game was specifically pretty much mechs. But I did I was able to do a lot of damage with those just minimal forces. Okay, you're doing infantry, yeah. So I remember, I want to say it was, God, who was it? It might have not have been BattleTech. It might have been Mech Warrior. Can't remember which one it was. When they had City Fight, I think it was BattleTech. That might have been Mech Warrior. I can't remember. But when that came out, you know, there was like detailed rules for like troops and shit in that universe. That was a lot of fun, man. I remember when I was playing Adeptus Titanicus back in the 80s. This was when the Horus Heresy started, like in the storyline, and like Marine versus Marine. And I remember us playing battles in the cities, and I would always have like my assault Marines on top of the buildings, like hiding, and then they would assault. They penetrate through those void shields, and then they just like kill the crew. So you got this giant fucking traitor. Reaver, was it Reaver Titan or whatever, and it's just the crew are dead. It's fucking cool. That shit was fun. Yeah, City Tech. Yeah. Okay, it was just the RPG version. Okay, yeah. But yeah, we used the minis and stuff, and we played it with that. Man, that was a lot of fun. If you get to them, that was the whole thing. It was, but when you got people just walking through cities, yeah, that's not smart. You got these big, you got the big mechs walking downtown, and it's just like, dude, you need some support. But they think they're invincible in those, and those things are pretty much invincible against another mech. But when you start getting all these like little gnats, with the death of 1,000 cuts kind of thing, yeah, I'm screwed. But it's good stuff. Oh yeah, dude. Just like in real life, like if you get tanks in a city without that infantry support, they're wasted. They are wasted. Oh yeah, I remember those things. Yeah, I forgot, man. It's been so long since I've played. I forgot all the terms. It was funny because I never collected it. I never bought any of it. I had a buddy that was really big into it, and I just played with his stuff because I was playing 40K and what else was I playing? I was playing 40K and some ancient stuff, and that was kind of what I was into. And I was like, man, I'm not going to invest in a whole nother army and a whole other system, so I would just play with his stuff. But yeah, it's a pretty fun game. Who is writing that stuff? Was that Almo Designs or was that Ralph Partha? I can't remember who was doing it at that time. Do you remember? Hell, it could have been played. Shit, I don't even know. I can't remember who. Another game that I played a lot, but I'd never bought an army into it was the Babylon 5, like a space combat game. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. It was funny because I always played the Earthlings, the worst fucking army. Was it Fossa? Okay, Fossa. I always played the Earthling ships, and they were like the worst army to have. You know, everybody was buying Mumbari and the Shadow and all that shit. And I was always into the Earthlings for whatever reason. I love their with Star Furies, their little ships and stuff. Those things are cool. And the bomber versions. And it's funny because like the Earthlings had like a devastating forward firing gun, but then like they're whatever. But their ships weren't all that great. I watched Babylon 5 when it first came out, right? And I hadn't really revisited it since. And I don't remember much about it, to be honest with you. I need to go back and rewatch that stuff. I have access to it all online. I need to just go watch it again. A lot of people, I remember the first season was rough. I mean, I know they had that one guy in it. And he wasn't all that great of an actor or whatever. And for whatever reasons, they got rid of him and it got a little bit better. I think the writing was a little bit tighter. But it was pretty, I enjoyed it. It was tighter. But it was pretty, I enjoyed it. It was a good show for what I remember. Yeah, they had a space combat game for Babylon 5, and they actually had a land combat game too, with like little tanks and troops. I want to say it was like 15 mil, so it was like small scale. So it wasn't like big minis or anything. But I never played the. Well, I take that back. I played the ground combat game once. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's it wasn't anything new, but it was pretty cool. I always wanted like I'm a big Star Trek fan. I would have loved to have like some sort of like Star Trek like war, like the Federation is actually fighting like a war, not just fucking lasers up in space and shit, but like they're having to like attack like ground forces and shit. They don't have space superiority, so you can't just call down fire from the heavens, and so you can't just call down fire from the heavens. And like that would be cool to see like what a Klingon tank would look like, or a Federation tank would look like. That'd be fucking awesome. But hell, I don't even know if they had tanks, to be honest with you, in the canon. I don't even know. I mean, think about it. If the space wasn't like the space wasn't secured, you couldn't have these like firefights from above because they're engaging each other upstairs. So ground combat would actually have to take place. But yeah, damn it, that didn't work. I'm finishing up these damn Chinese I've been working on. Ugh. But yeah. Been watching on YouTube, they got all that free movies and shit on there or whatever, the cheesy movies. I've been watching a bunch of really crappy movies. Watched a couple Godzilla movies here yesterday. Ooh, they're bad. Godzilla versus Mega Gago Gago Gaga. Some sort of flying bug. Watch that. I watched. Oh my god! When I watched The Bog, they're just called Bog. It's crap. I like crappy movies, but these movies are just. I mean, the Godzilla one wasn't bad, but. So Mel's sitting there, and she Mega Gargargus, yeah, that one, the giant bug. There were a bunch of little bugs at first, and then like they got the big bug. But yeah, I like the So Mel was sitting there, and she's like, "Is Godzilla good or bad?" Whatever, right? Then like in the 60s and 70s, he started to like become good, right? He's like defending the earth from like like other like big monsters. And then I think in the 80s and 90s, he started to become kind of like he is now. He's kind of like, I don't know. He's not bad. But he's not good. He's still destroying Tokyo or whatever, but he's fighting the bigger bad. So I couldn't really answer. So nerd, do you think Godzilla is good or bad? But in that one, the Mega Garus or whatever, there was like some gore in that one. I've never seen gore. Like some people got killed by like the little versions of it. And they were like blood splatter and like gore popping up. I'm like, dude, I never seen gore in Godzilla. So it was interesting. Well, there you go. That makes sense. That's a good description. He defends Earth, not humans. That makes sense. Yeah, the campier ones, like with Godzuki, his son, and all that shit. I kind of like those. Now, did you watch the cartoon that like Netflix showed? Dude, that was like crazy. It was like Godzilla was awesome, dude. He's like shooting fucking breath out into space and shit. I'm like, damn. And he's like 10 times the size now. And but I didn't like the like little story, like with the little like what humans that like worship him or something. I don't know what the hell. I mean, I think they're running out of ideas or something. I remember at one time in the 80s, there was a Godzilla comic book where like he was he was like part of a fucking like super team. It's like a superhero team that would like fight, bad guys and shit. It's pretty stupid. But as a kid, it's Godzilla. It's got his own cartoon or comic book. That's fucking awesome. Mega Garus. Oh my! So the Mega Garus one, right? It's like it would like, I guess you lose something in translation, but the organization that like was fighting against them were called the G grabbers or the G graspers. The G graspers. I'm just like, that is not the worst name for anything ever. G graspers. So they're Godzilla graspers. I mean, it's just like, what? And the story with like the girl, first of all, the girl was she wasn't very appealing, and she wasn't a good actress, and she wasn't good to look at, and she just nothing good about her. And remember at the end, she jumps out of her little airplane thing and lands in a pool. Everything's okay. She's okay. I'm just like, what the fuck? It's crazy. I haven't seen Destroya. I have to check that one out. Destroya. Sounds cool. But yeah, G graspers. I'm just like, dude, come on. You guys definitely got to work on. You got to get like an English speaker to like help you with like if you're trying to translate into like the English audience, you need someone that knows what the English language is, and G graspers is not something like fitting of that. So strange. So what kind of BattleTech mechs do you like? I can't even remember all their names though. I like the kind of squat ones with the big kind of round bodies. I can't remember what they're called. I didn't like the humanoid looking ones much. I like kind of like the more mechy looking ones. Trying to paint rank marks on these guys. My paintbrushes suck. Not that anyone's ever going to see it or even know what it means, except me. You guys paint like that? I saw the first two. I think I saw two of them. I don't know if there's more than two. Yeah, I mean the animation's cool. Again, like a lot. I mean, I like anime. A lot of it, the animation is fantastic, but the stories just don't. I don't know. I'm a complex thinker, and I enjoy complexity and artistic license and all that shit. But I'm telling you, man, something just doesn't translate sometimes that to some of those animes, and I just don't get it. It's just not for me, I guess. Just don't, they're not. They just sound disjointed and it just doesn't. I don't know. It's just weird. Oh, cool. Yeah. You can find a lot. I think I've seen that Destroya. I'm on some. Let me see what that. Let me see what that channel is. I'll tell you what the channel is here. Hold on a second. There's a lot of like movie channels on YouTube, but this one isn't overly saturated with like fucking commercials. My God, some of those are like every 5 minutes you have 3 minutes of commercials. I'm just like, click, done. Not going back to that channel. Let's see. Let me find that channel real quick. Let's see what we got here. The movie channel ones I have, the channels that I watch a lot on YouTube is oh shit, I'm on my other channel. Shit, I can't remember. Damn it. Yeah, I can't get off of this. It's on my other YouTube account. I'll revisit it again. But yeah. Oh man. So what house or clan or was it a house? No, I think they clans. They BattleTech had clans, right? Different kind of clans or whatever. What clan do you play? House for Inner Sphere, the clans, or the outsider alien type faction, although still human. Okay. Man, it's been a lot, man. It has been a long time since I've even messed with any BattleTech. It's got a big following here in Texas, or at least Central Texas. I've been to several game shops. They're usually, GW exclusive, kind of bullshit. But these guys, dude, a lot of these guys are throwing down with some big ass BattleTech armies. Some of the guys are old schoolers, and they have like all the old stuff. I remember a couple years ago they had like a big like kind of like a Kickstarter or something like that. And if you got the big deal. You just got outsanely amount of mechs. I remember these guys all delving in and getting it all. That's cool. So you have a couple clans. That's cool. Yeah. Again, a lot of these guys are they all got the game and they played a lot around here. Again, I pretty much committed completely to like World War II, Weird World War II, so I don't really play outside of that genre too much. I just don't have the money to buy the like the mechs and all that shit. Honestly, I don't have the time and all that stuff. But I enjoyed playing it back in the day. It was pretty fun. Remember, God, it was like it was. I remember the TSR's version was complex. If I'm thinking of the right game, I mean it was like you had to really micromanage your mech's efficiency and its energies and all that. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty fun. Yeah, so that's what they're saying. That initial Kickstarter was like almost too good to be true, and I guess it went quick. Like they fulfilled their whatever their wanted goal like almost instantly. That's awesome. Shit, that's great. That shit. It tells you something, man. So the minis are better. Are they? So like, okay, let's say you had a bunch of the old minis. Could you use the old minis with the new game with the new minis? Would they look close in size, so you wouldn't have to like, you know, redo all the minis? They look pretty close in size from what I remember. But again, it's been so long since I never owned any per se, so I couldn't really quite tell. I like when games allow for previous editions to be included in the new thing. I think it's a disservice to the gamers, the long term gamers, when gaming companies do that shit. I'm even talking about video games. Like if you got like game systems, new consoles that come out that can't play the old games, I think that's bullshit, man. They should play their whole catalog. I think that's how it should be, but hell, it's not about it's just all about the money. But it's a corporation, so whatever. Oh, cool. Similar size. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool that they look better. I remember the old Fasas were pretty like blocky. I remember the mechs being pretty blocky. But hell, that could just be the design of the actual mech itself. So do they have in the new system? Do they have the let's see, do they have the infantry and tanks and shit? That's cool. They don't like, all right, your clan no longer exists. It's a new clan. So if you painted your shit or have this big story about your world, it doesn't work anymore. Yeah, I hate that kind of shit. See, that's cool. Making them better instead of changing everything. I mean, I'm telling you, there's a right way and a wrong way to do shit. And unfortunately, you know, as gamers, a lot of I don't, but a lot of gamers they just accept, Games Workshop's, fucking marketing that, blah blah blah. Well, that's how it is. Too bad. Fuck that. You don't have to play with that shit. You don't have to go along with like, if you're a squat player, you didn't have squats for fucking what 20 years or something. And then they're not called squats anymore because they can't. I guess they couldn't like trademark the word squat. So now they're what Voltars or Vantans or some weird shit. Man. And then like, I hear that there's like, there's like in every edition there's like a new unit lost, so like I don't know, whatever. I mean, I guess people don't care. It's enough to just let them play, I guess. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's awesome. I'd fucking nuke. That'd be sweet. I want to say we actually played. Weren't there like tactical nukes? Not like necessarily like, world killer nukes, but like just kind of small yield tacticals that some of the mechs carried. I want to say we played with some nukes before. Can't remember though. In the old system. So you said you're waiting for service calls. You do some sort of like customer support or something. In map sheets, damn. Shit. I remember in the original 40K that I played at Rogue Trader, they had like you could virus bomb and you could like shoot like orbital vortex, like attack orbital barrage or whatever. Those are fun. Fun stuff. Cybersecurity, ooh, very cool. Man, there's a lot of that out there. A lot of jerk faces out there fucking with people's stuff, man. It's not cool. Not cool. I guess it's been easier than ever in modern times to scam people with the internet and computers and shit, huh? You don't even have to be physically around. You can just dupe people into whatever. It sucks. And I'll be. I mean, I'm not really tech savvy, but I know certain things to do and don't do. But hell, I don't know. There's always someone smarter and sneakier than yourself. Especially like we had something similar happen to something happened with my in-laws. That someone convinced them that whatever, and they just take everything to face value and they just get duped. I'm like, you don't have to do that. Don't do that. But they're like, no, we got a message that said that. It's like it's someone's lying to you. Can't you understand? But it sucked. That's probably good money though, dude. There's a lot. I mean, I'm sure everybody needs some sort of any company probably needs some sort of cybersecurity in their day-to-day operations. Man, I don't know what color I'm gonna paint that. Who does BattleTech now, man? Who brought up the torch for that now? I know it's been sold off a couple times. I know FASA sold it to. I keep seeing Alamo Designs, but was that BattleTech or was that fucking Star War or Star Trek? I can't remember. My memory's for shit, folks. Getting old. Getting old and feeble. Catalyst Games Lab. Okay. They do anything else? That sounds familiar, but I don't know. Maybe I know it from just the BattleTech stuff. Oh, Shadowrun. Oh, okay. Shadowrun, cyberpunk slash fantasy. That was a pretty wild mashup. Never got into Shadowrun or any of the cybertech kind of stuff. I'm not much of a like role playing wise. I'm not much of a role player that likes modern stuff. I just modern weaponry just throws everything out of whack, and it doesn't seem it. The mechanics just, in my opinion, don't work right. Did you ever play the BattleTech role playing game? Was that like because I never played the role playing game of it. The I don't know. I'm just trying to think how would you even play out a game? Was it like you play as the mechs, or I'm sure you play as the characters and the pilots and shit. Mechs, or I'm sure you play as the characters and the pilots and shit, maybe, or I don't know how that would work. I guess you just play it out. Mm-hmm. So since we're speaking about kind of like BattleTech and stuff right now, some cool like mech movies. I remember when I was a kid, um, there was a movie called Robot Jocks by Empire Entertainment. Charles Band. He started after Empire went down. He started Full Moon, but that was pretty fun. That was a fun one. It was basically like these giant mechs. Like when there was just like territorial disputes on the world, instead of having wars, they'd have this like high stakes game of like kind of like mech gladiators in this big like arena. Mech gladiators in this big like arena, and whoever won the battle in the arena would win that territory or whatever, right? It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. It was a fun one. Robot Jocks. It was fun. And then I'm trying to think of, then you had like that Pacific Rim stuff. I wasn't a big fan of that. I mean, I guess it was like kaiju and robots all kind of thrown in as one, but I mean, it wasn't shit, but it just, I don't know, it wasn't really my thing. Anybody out there? You play as infantry or the pilot? Okay. I guess, on a small scale, like bring it down. Maybe you have to like I could see rescue missions being a big thing. Like you have to go rescue a fallen, pilot, or you're the pilot, trying to make it back to your lines or something, and there's enemy infantry around or something like that. Or it's pretty limited, to be honest with you. But I guess shit. If you have a big imagination, you can pretty much do anything. Again, I can't remember what the story was of BattleTech. I mean, there's multiple planets, right? The Earth colony planets, and oh man, man, oh man. Yeah, I remember BattleTech having kind of like they have armored infantry. Yeah, I remember that. Kind of like Space Marine kind of armor. But they also had kind of just like like light infantry. I mean, there were several different infantry units if I remember correctly. They had the heavy armor guys, and then you had the light kind of recon. You know, they might have just real light armor. Yeah, yeah. Now that you say that, yeah, you're right. I remember I remember there being lots of source books, novels, lots of stuff for the BattleTech out there, like to read. I never read any of it though. I remember they had a arcade game. I think it was BattleTech. That was awesome. You like fighting in a city, and it's like one of those sit down games. That was pretty fun. I think that maybe it wasn't BattleTech. It might have been called something else, but it was BattleTech like. It was pretty good. Metal Core, or I don't know, something like that. Or I can't remember what it was called. Metal Core, or I don't know, something like that. Or I can't remember what it was called. Yeah, I meant that was one thing. Like a lot of the, well, not a lot, but some of the mechs had the worst designs. They had a canopy, right? Like a like a traditional kind of like cockpit canopy, and I'm just like, man, that's about the worst design. You want your guys like in fucking closed armor, have sensors looking out, not any kind of like open areas. Yeah, I think it might have been Mech Warrior. Did you ever get into was it Drop Pod 9 did heavy gear? That was pretty cool. I had some of that. That was kind of cool. It was kind of like BattleTech, but more like anime-ish kind of feel and look. It was that was kind of cool. It was kind of like BattleTech, but more like anime-ish kind of feel and look. It was pretty good though. They had real hard military science and tactics in their stuff. I kind of like that stuff. It's called Heavy Gear. I think they still make it. I think it was the same size as the old as the BattleTech stuff. So you could probably, if you wanted, you could create your own mechs or whatever. Now there was another one. Was it Cav that Reaper put out? Reaper Miniatures. Uh, they're a Texas company. And anyway, yeah, it's called Cav, and it's I've never seen anybody play it like in shops or anything, but I've seen it. It's usually at the cons down here. It seems like it just seems like any other kind of like mech combat game. The mechs look pretty. They look okay, and they have like tanks and infantry and shit too. Yeah, you checked it out. Yeah, I'm sure there's all sorts of like 3D printing kind of mechs and troops and shit that you could get a hold of or even create. Reaper Calf, yeah. Well, Reaper's the company. I don't know if it's called. I think it's just called Cav. I think Cav means something. It's an acronym for something. I'm not sure what it means. But yeah, it's been out for a while. Reaper has had a couple games. They had a fantasy battle game too called oh man, do not remember what it was called. But yeah, it's kind of like, kind of like a Warhammer Fantasy or whatever. But that thing, it's in. They kind of incorporate that stuff into their normal kind of fantasy lines. But it looks pretty good. But, God, what was that called? Shit, I should look it up real quick. Oh yeah, dude. Reaper's great, man. They've been around fucking forever. They just make all that generic stuff that you can use for anything, and that their bones minis, they're like cheap as hell, dude. But what's cool? What Reaper did is they started that trend, dude. But what's cool? What Reaper did is they started that trend to make really cheap plastic, minis. And now that D&D's doing it, they got their bare bones or not, I don't know what it's called, but their shit is so minis right now. The plastic, you can find some really great plastic minis for next to nothing for like fantasy gaming and whatnot through D&D and Reaper. So you being the connoisseur of all things 3D, so what do you think about how far do you think the tech is from like 3D printers printing like in color to like like a wargaming standard, like a high wargaming standard? Do you think, I mean, I saw that they've got those already out, but they're like $1 bazillion. But I mean, shit, technology just expands on itself like $1 bazillion. But I mean, shit, technology just expands on itself day after day, and I'm curious how long it would be to where when these 3D printers that we have can just print out because listen, I hate painting, man. If I could just like print shit painted, woo, that would be awesome. But that would, and I think most people would do the same thing. I mean, you got people that enjoy the painting, and then you got the people that are invested in it because they got like channels that show how they paint, or they're selling painting products or whatever. But I think in general, I think the in my opinion, I think the populace would just, I mean, the gamers at least were like, hell, man, if we could skip a step, like painting the shit, painting everything, and just buy it and throw down and start playing, and it looks awesome. Shit, man, I could see them going that way easy. I'd go that way for sure. I bought a crap ton of their bones minis. I know, dude. You can get a shit ton of minis for. Yeah, Reaper stuff is really cool. It's great. FDM color prints is easy enough, but I think resin is the future, and it becomes way harder to do multicolor prints due to using a liquid. Yeah, I mean, shit, but though, someone's gonna do it because there's money if they figure it out. Hell, would you have ever thought that we were able to print from our house miniatures and shit? Fuck. Never in my wildest imagination did I ever think that something like that would happen. But guess what? It's crazy the world we live in, man. And I'm sure the big companies are freaking the fuck out, dude. Because, they better start like either really fucking loving on their customers, or they're out, man. They're gonna lose out. This technology is gonna make these guys, and hell, I think most diehard gamers, they're already subsidizing like GW products for other shit. I think the only reason people buy GW stuff is because GW, they have their tournaments, and they're like specifically made rules that prevent you from using other people's shit, But you know what? I see there's a lot of independent tournaments too out there. So it's like, that's not going to hold them down. It's going to hold the folks down because shit, they'll just start their own tournaments, have their own tournament play. With, you know, you can bring whatever you want to the table, you know, just as long as it's relatively represented correctly. Shit. Yeah, get some sort of like, dude, you know it's out there. I mean, I don't know. There's a way. Shit, when there's money, there's always a way. It's true. I mean, and you're right. If so, like, if there's a company that you enjoy their products and they're priced well, you know, that you're willing to pay, I can see people sticking with those people. Not a problem at all. But what I'm talking about, like large companies that take advantage of the collector mentality. I don't know. I don't know why people still buy, you know, certain company shit because it's so fucking outrageously expensive. And they just take it. They just assume that's what it is and that's what they have to do. And I don't get it. I walked away from those kind of companies a long time ago. And that's what it is and that's what they have to do. And I don't get it. I walked away from those kind of companies a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, I could see. I haven't used my printer yet. I need to get a fan. I don't have a garage, and I don't really have an outside place for me to put it. So I need to get a box fan to put like in my window and do the printer in front of it, so I can vent all those fumes out because I just don't have I don't have any fucking money. That's true. I think the 3D printer just it existing and the hobby of it has forced certain companies to go, okay, guys, we gotta get our A game going here because if we don't, you know, you got people, you know, printing shit up, free prints or you know, slightly lower, you know, cost stuff. We're gonna lose out. And it is innovation is good for the hobby. It's good for the industry. It really is. I just I just wish people would see that there's more than just like, you know, and I don't mean to be bagging on GW, but man, they're fucking worth bagging on. They really put the nail to, you know, it's like a double-edged sword, man. It's like, you know, they've expanded the hobby because, you know, it's a huge game and, you know, it's all over the world and it gives, you know, exposes the hobby to it. But the problem is they're so expensive, and I think it dissuades a lot of people that are kind of fair weather, you know, to the hobby, just, you know, kind of, you know, on the peripheral. They're not going to buy into all this shit because they got to buy it and then they got to paint it and then they got to find someone to play. I mean, it's just, I can just do that on a video game. And it's just, I think it just makes things a lot harder for, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of GW. But I mean, but what's happened is that even like the smaller companies, like you got the companies that, you know, are trying to take business from them with similar sculpts, they're charging the same fucking amount. So it's like, it's just like, why would anybody buy your stuff when you're painting? I mean, I'll just buy the official shit for just the same amount as much as you're charging me for your alternative sculpts. I don't get it. When I owned my miniatures company, um, so I hired a sculptor. It was about $100 a millimeter. So like if I wanted a 28 millimeter sculpt, right, it'd be like 200, you know, $300. And he would sculpt it to my specifications and blah, 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 right? And then you would have to, and these were pewter tin mix minis, right? And pewter and tin are a commodity, so you know those prices fluctuate depending on the market. But you know, if you're a small fry, you're not using massive amounts of pewter. So I got a caster, Brown from Black Crab Studios down in New Zealand, and my caster was Forrest Harris of Knuckle Duster. He's in the States. And he was cool because, like, I only would have like 3, green. We call them greens because they made them out of the green putty. I'd only have like, 3 or 4 greens at a time. And he's like, look, man, I'll just piggyback your stuff onto one of my production molds, right? Because he has a big catalog, and he would just like stick some of his stuff on mine, and then he would just cast because he does a high volume, whatever. And but yeah, so awesome fucking guy. And I don't remember how much he charged me very little to do casting, and I would get castings of like whatever it was. But I mean, the cost for a mini was like, for me, was like 25 cents or something like that. After you get away from all the molding. Now, don't get me wrong, GW and all them, they're using like metal fucking, molds and all that kind of shit. But the vast volume that they make, those things will last fucking forever. These vulcanized, rubber molds that these smaller companies have, they have a lifespan. Those rubber molds, they start to break down. But anyway, like 25 cents a mini, if not maybe a little bit more, a little less, man. That was it for a fucking mini. Now, when you're talking about like GW, doing it's expensive to do like, the initial, run up of these molds, but then they're making massive fucking product and they're charging massive amounts of money. This company is obscenely making money, obscenely, in the production. Man, it's like, I couldn't even tell you. I mean, I'm just talking as a small fry. And I would sell my guys about $5 a pop, the mini. I usually sold a set of 5 minis for like $20, something like that. And but yeah, that's a huge fucking like that's a huge, just in that's a huge like profit. It is, man. That's a term I keep hearing lately. And I think you're right, man. There's like this weird addiction. And I don't know what's wrong with people, but I mean, there's something there. There's something social there, because I mean, it's not like you have to, like we pay outrageous gas prices and, whatever, electric or whatever, because you have to have it, right? You have to have it. But, this kind of shit you don't have to have. But I think it feeds into the collector kind of mentality. And I think they become collectors more than they do gamers. So these products become like, like the newest, like those weird cell phone people where they got to get a new cell phone, the new model every fucking year. And I'm just like, what the fuck? It's the same thing as last year. It might have another bell in it or some shit. Just like it's just, I don't know what it is, but it's some sort of mental thing. And I think you're right, man. I think it's like, I think a lot of these people get caught up, but